Well, greetings and hello there, boys and girls. It's me, everybody's favorite Star Wars dad, Nooch Too Good. And lately, actually for the past year and a half, with my Java account and with my new free-to-play account, I've been playing a lot of Carbonite Grand Arena, so I am here today to talk about the 10 best offensive and defensive teams for Carbonite Grand Arena. And yeah, I think we're going to keep going with this after we get done with Carbonite. We'll look next at Bronzium and Chromium, and we'll go forward from there. So the 10 best, and you can look at this as early game, just kind of, hey, you're getting new to the game, you're getting teams developed for Carbonite Grand Arena. I'm not going to tell you Galactic Legends. We all know that a Galactic Legend in Carbonite would be a dominant force. I think we should also keep in mind that when you're down in Carbonite, every now and then, and it is every now and then, it's not like all the time, but you're going to find accounts that you're going to go up against. It's not going to matter. They're going to be 4, 5, 6 million. They're going to have a Galactic Legend. So we're not talking about accounts like that, but I'm going to talk about some teams that have really been carrying me through Carbonite Grand Arena. Let's take a look at that first team. And here you go. Qui-Gon Jinn Omicron with Jedi Knight Anakin in there. And you can even put Ahsoka Snips. I've got 5s and Mace Windu in there because this is the exact team that I'm using right now in Carbonite Grand Arena. And my Qui-Gon Jinn is only, I think, gear 9, maybe? I think he's gear 9. I've got a Relic 5 Anakin. I got a Relic 5 Ahsoka on that team. I got a gear 12 5s, and I think I've got like a gear 9 or 10 Mace Windu. This is a pretty similar team to what I've got down in Carbonite, and I've been putting this team on defense, and it is holding the line. Against rosters that are similar to mine, they cannot get through a Qui-Gon Jinn Omicron with Anakin mixed in there. I think you can use it equally either on defense or offense. It would work for both. But if you're looking for a stopper that's just gonna take rosters that are similar to your early game free-to-play roster or even pay-to-play roster, if you're looking across the aisle and you don't see a lot of highly relic teams, a lot of teams that can really do a great job of countering this team, this is going to hold the line in Grand Arena on defense, but it would work great on offense for you as well. Let's go to stop number 2. I don't think there's any surprises here. You're given a lot of these Phoenix characters early. We've labeled this as one of the 2 teams you should farm at the beginning of Star Wars Galaxy Heroes, whether you're free to play or otherwise. The Phoenix with Captain Rex, I'm going to say again, great on offense or defense. I kind of would like to save it for offense a little bit just because you can go out there and really pick apart some teams. This is a great team to have for Grand Arena early on. And it goes on defense or offense, whichever way it works for you. Again, kind of a flexible team for going both ways. I don't have any game footage today, guys. Sorry about that. Just didn't have a lot of time to put that together. But if you're looking for a great team to have on offense or defense in the early rounds of Carbonite, and really this team goes all the way to the end. I just think it becomes more of an offensive team as you move through the game. But early on, if you got Captain Rex on your roster, and you must have Captain Rex on your roster. By the way, he's got a fun little, he's got a Zeta here, but he's got a nice little Grand Arena Omicron, which makes the Phoenix even better in Grand Arena. You got those things applied. You've got a great team on your hands. The Phoenix are tremendous offense or defense-wise in early rounds of Grand Arena. Another team that's really going to rock your world in Carbonite Grand Arena right here, the Veers Troopers. Now, I've got Dark Trooper, Moff Gideon, Scout Trooper in there because I've got them relicked, and they work great on a Veers team. You don't have to have those guys. It really, if you've got a baseline of Veers and Piet, you can mix in almost any other Imperial Trooper, the other 3 Imperial Troopers in there, and do a great job in Grand Arena. Make Piet as fast as you possibly can and get Piet. The only Zeta required here is the Emperor's Trap. So you get the Emperor's Trap on Piet, make Piet as fast as possible. If your Imperial Troopers go first, the battle's going to be over against almost every team that anybody can put together down in Carbonite Grand Arena. I'm going to say this is an offense team in almost every situation. If you're facing a pretty weak roster, I guess it could hold on defense. That'd be fine. You're going to miss out on a lot of the fun of playing with these troopers, though. And I just think, with all that said, I think generally speaking, it's a better offensive team than it is a defensive team. And it's really kind of a pretty wide margin there between its offense performance and defense, because you want to pick a team that Piet is faster than the fastest character over on their team. And if you outspeed them with Piet, it's off to the races. You win. And if you got Moff Gideon in there, by the way, if Moff Gideon outspeeds their fastest character, you win. He's going to strip turn meter right off the bat with his control the situation here. And when he strips everybody's turn meter and pulls it back and everybody assists, the Imperial Troopers are off and running. I love Veers Imperial Troopers on offense in Carbonite Grand Arena. And while we're talking about Imperial Troopers, let's go turn our attention to the Iden Versio Troopers for both offense and defense in Carbonite Grand Arena, with one important caveat. If you look across the aisle and you see a Wampa with an Omicron on the other team's roster, guess what you need to do? Get your Iden Versio team off of defense. Wampa wipes out Iden Versio in pretty much every situation, even with the Scout Trooper. Scout Trooper's supposed to kind of put a stop to Wampa. No bueno. I can still beat that Scout Trooper with my Wampa on my roster. So if they have no Wampa, put your Iden Versio team on defense. Hold that front wall, a lot like Qui-Gon Jinn, doing a lot of wall holding. But if you don't need to hold a wall, if you've already got Qui-Gon Jinn up there with an Omicron, and you're going to get that held, you got a pretty good confidence level that, which, by the way, confidence in Grand Arena and in all game modes comes from experience. When you're looking at swgoh.gg for counters, it's really not going to apply all that much to Carbonite levels, because those counters you're looking at are for the top 1,000 players in Kyber in Grand Arena. You got counters that are going to be very different. It's going to be a very different game down here in Carbonite than up at the top. So keep that in mind as you go. Iden Versio, great offense or great defense. If you see a Wampa on the other side, do not put her on defense. You're just asking to have her fall down without hardly any effort from your opponent. That's Wampa with an Omicron. If they have Wampa and no Omicron, fire away, defense time. And speaking of Wampa, you know what? It's going to be an offensive team strictly, and I say team loosely because Wampa with her Omicron is going to be a single character in Grand Arena. This is a character in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. If you farm Wampa, if you get her up to, or in Carbonite, you can probably get her to Gear 12. You get a Zeta and an Omicron of Wampa. It was my first Zeta and Omicron on my Jabba the Hutt account. It was well worth it. She carried me through so many offensive battles in Grand Arena early on. Wampa is a menacing force all the way through, I feel like, even into the late game. And I'll tell you, I'm still in Kyber 2 and Kyber 3. I still have people throwing out Iden Versio teams, General Grievous teams, Mon Mothma teams on defense, and Wampa walks right through them. Phasma teams on defense. Wampa walks right through them, Omicron or not, on those teams. You do need the Zeta and the Omicron on Cornered Beast. You don't need anything on Furious Foe. But if you want an offensive force to do a lot of things, it's one character. You farm her with your Mark 1 raid currency. You get her to 7 stars. You get her to Gear 12. Get a Zeta and Omicron. Boom! Killing stuff in Grand Arena. Can't talk highly enough about it. I love Wampa and Carbonite. Really, really love her. Savage Opress. He is a dangerous force in Carbonite Grand Arena all by himself. Yes, later on he goes on the Treya team. But here in Carbonite Grand Arena, he can perform by himself. He can destroy lots of teams without any help from anybody. Again, you do need a Zeta and an Omicron on his Brute here. You want to get him modded for some health. Savage Opress will take a little bit of time to get through, folks. But basically, they're not going to be able to get through him. And you can't put him on defense. If you have like a great Sith team around it, it might work for him to be on defense with that Sith team. But if you don't have a great Sith team, I love Savage Opress as a solo artist down in Carbonite Grand Arena for your roster and for my roster. And speaking of our rosters, yours and mine, the Geos in Carbonite are redonkulous. I'm putting them on defense, baby. I had climbed up to Bronzium with my Jabba the Hutt account, and I had these Gear 9, 10, 11 Geos, kind of Gear 9, 10, 11 across the board with them. I don't remember who was who. And I put them on defense, and you really only need one Zeta here. I've got them both. You really only need the Queen's Will Zeta. That brings out the Brute to start the battle with. If you got that Queen's Will Zeta, and even without it, I kind of lost them in Carbonite last week, but these guys will hold a line for you on defense in Grand Arena in a lot of situations. People don't know how to deal with them down in Carbonite. This is a great team at all gear levels. Gear 8, Gear 9, Gear 10, Gear 11, Gear 12, Relic levels. The Geonosians, you want to get a Zeta on Geobreed Alpha. You want to make Geobreed Alpha as fast and as much protection as possible. You don't have to have a Zeta because once they start getting turns, it's all over for your opponent. Down in Carbonite, the Geos are a dominant defensive team. Yes, they can perform on offense as well, but I've just seen them hold so many times on defense. I highly recommend Geos as a defensive team in Carbonite Grand Arena. And who do you need on your roster if you're facing lots of Geos on the other side and you want to make sure you can get through them? That's right, none other than Darth Vader. I still use Darth Vader to counter Geos even up again in Kyber 2, Kyber 3. I'll see Geos every now and then. Darth Vader walks in, manhandles them. If you've got Palpatine with his Palpatine's Leader Zeta, you want to have Merciless Massacre and No Escape Zetas on Vader. You need Palpatine's Leader Zeta. If you've got that Leader Zeta on Palpatine, it's just you're off to the races. Make sure Vader is fast enough. I like mod him for crit damage. You can mod him for speed with some crit damage. I like full crit damage, and I like to add some... One note in here. When you have No Escape, you get speed off of Empire and Sith allies. So at the start of each encounter, he gains 8 speed until the end of the encounter for each Empire or Sith ally or Jedi or Rebel enemy. Okay, if there's no Geos, you want to use them against Jedi and Rebels. But that said, Darth Vader gives himself 16 speed because he's a Sith and an Empire. Palpatine gives him 16 speed, gives Vader 16 speed because he's a Sith and an Empire. You can put, if you need more speed on Vader to get ahead of the Geos, you're fighting against Geos, you want to go first with Vader. If you go first, it's pretty much over. Merciless Massacre wrecks them all. If you want to make sure you go first and you don't have enough speed, put some other Empire Sith allies in here just to get Vader's speed pumped up. Vader's a great counter to the Geos. He can kill lots of other stuff as well if you're not seeing Geos, but that's my next recommended team. I didn't put anybody else with it because, like I said, just fill in some extra Sith or Empire as needed to pump up Vader's speed. But if you got Vader faster than the other team, really these two are the only ones you need. And if Vader's fast the other team all on his own, you can do a lot of battles on his own as long as you outgear those guys down in Carbonite Grand Arena. Hey, we don't want to gloss over the bounty hunters. A lot of folks will farm bounty hunters early to go for Executor, to go for Chewbacca, to go for the Millennium Falcon, or just to have really cool bounty hunters out there. Now, one caveat here, Bosk does take a little while to farm up to 7 stars, but you are giving him now, I think, 3 stars. I think they give him 2, 3 stars. Correct me if I'm wrong, I don't remember, but I was able to get to 7-star Bosk relatively quickly. I think I got to him there within a couple of months of starting the game, or maybe 3 months. Whatever. A Bosk lead is the ideal lead here. Mando is a great, what's the word? Disintegrates. Yes, he disintegrates the enemy team once he gets his payout. He will disintegrate someone. It's a great payout. It's the best payout, one of the best payouts in the game for bounty hunters. Boba Fett's just kind of a given because you're going to be farming Slave 1 early on. And Boba Fett's pretty easy to get in the Cantina store. Greef and Mando are available in the Galactic War store. So is Cad Bane, by the way. These 4 are all easy farms. Bosk is a little harder farm with regular energy. But until you get Bosk, you could put Boba Fett in there as the leader. If you have Boba Fett as a leader, it's going to be a better team for offense. If you have Bosk as leader, it's going to work both for offense and defense. I have definitely got a lot of holds with Bosk as my leader in Grand Arena down in Carbonite levels. So this team can work on offense or defense. Either way you do it, it's going to be a really great team. And by the way, you can mix and match a lot of different bounty hunters in here. I'm just showing you what I think. I'm going to say these 3 are ideal. Greef, Boba Fett, and Mando. I put Cad Bane in there because he's a really easy farm. He's not ideal. Probably Dengar's a better fit in this spot, but Cad Bane's an easier farm. Maybe not. You get Dengar with your Mark 1 raid currency, so Dengar's pretty easy to get too, but a lot of us are going to farm Cad Bane for his ship early on, and just because people love Cad Bane. So bounty hunters, great on offense or defense. I'm going to say if you have Bosk in the lead, I'm going to throw him on defense and try to get some holes. And our final team of the top 10 is going to be CLS. If you made it to this point, hang on till after the credits. I got one little honorable mention back there at the end of the credits. But CLS, now this it looks weird, right? I got CLS in there with Old Ben, Stormtrooper Han, R2, and Han Solo. The reason I did this is because we are in Carbonite. We're really not focusing on having the full, Chewbacca, Chewpio, 3PO. That's the ideal other 3. CLS and Han is, they're going to be there no matter what. Han's going to be in there because you can get him again with your raid currency. You should be farming Han. I think he should be your first unlock down there. Get him with CLS. At any gear levels, if you got CLS and Han in the team and just some 3 rebels to fill it in, you can do some really good stuff in Carbonite Grand Arena. I'm going to recommend this team for offense over defense. I do think it could do some things on defense, but on offense, you can pick your spots, go in there with a less than ideal CLS rebel team, but still do some real good quality damage. And keep in mind that Han Solo is going to fulfill some prestigious quests for you to get you some extra gear in the game. If you're not doing prestigious quests, go check them out. Once you unlock Han, General Kenobi, and Darth Traya, you get prestigious quests that you can unlock and go get some extra Gear 12 finishers in there. But CLS, even without the ideal team, is going to be really, really effective in Carbonite. I'm going to recommend him for offense over defense. And for those of you who hung on, I told you there at the end I was going to give you a nice little honorable mention at the end of the stream. I, again, am a new convert to Hondo Ohnaka being on my roster. This Hondo Ohnaka right here at Gear 9 with no Zetas applied, with regular old mods on him, this Hondo Ohnaka has been getting me holds in Grand Arena. Not every time, but when somebody underestimates a Hondo Ohnaka team, and I've been throwing him in there with Bosk, which doesn't, there's no real synergy there necessarily, but it just makes that bounty hunter team. I mean, Hondo performs by himself. He's been doing Smuggler's Run for me all by himself. Everybody else dies. He stays there. He does Smuggler's Run. If you want to farm one character that is going to get you some holds from time to time in the Carbonite Grand Arena, and I think especially if you apply some of these Zetas here. What is this one? It's like captive but can't be copied, etc. That seems pretty good. I'd have to read through a little more. At Star Returns enemy with captive debuff. And then he's got a Grand Arena Omicron you can apply, which, Hondo starts, he would add a bunch of turn meter. Okay, so if you get this Zeta and this Omicron on Hondo in Grand Arena, watch out, your opponent's life is going to suck. And now I have to debate whether I want to do this Zeta and Omicron next, or if I want to go for Savage Opress, or if I want to go ahead and finish off my Bad Batch Zetas. I really got to think about it. But the honorable mention for teams, and I guess in this case, a character that you could farm that'll make a big difference for you in Carbonite Grand Arena is Hondo Ohnaka. You put him on defense, you put him out there with, I might just do this Zeta and Omicron. I don't know, but put him out there on defense under a Bosk lead, or if you can find something that's going to give him some more defense out there, I can imagine like Savage lead with Hondo Ohnaka with all that dip. Man, that could really be dangerous. But Hondo Ohnaka could do some really special things for you on defense in Grand Arena. I'm sure you can do some stuff on offense too, but defense is more fun. It's more fun to get a hold with a Gear 9 Hondo Ohnaka on a team, and he's just the last character left and they can't get through him. It's really fun stuff. So Hondo Ohnaka, honorable mention. Have a good day. I will talk to you soon. And of course, always remember, it's too good.